Well, big news from down under. The Australian hero Nick Kyrgios has withdrawn from the event, devastating tournament organizers and keeping us from another Djokovic-Kyrgios rematch in the fourth round potentially. So we're going to get into the big news of day one in this day one roundup here on the Slice. Kyrgios withdraws, Rafa Nadal survives and gets through a tough first round match versus Jack Draper. And we're going to round up all the other results, talk about day two coming up here tonight, and keep you updated on the Australian Open news. Let's get into it. Here is the slide. So yeah, thanks for being here, and make sure you subscribe. Do me a favor and subscribe. We got a lot of viewers during the majors, and the large percentage of you are not subscribed. And if you subscribe, you'll get to see all the interviews I do with pros throughout the years, all the shows, all the updates, all the news, and we appreciate it. So thanks so much. And check out Go Sport, the official bag of the Slice below. You can treat yourself and get the best tennis bag on the market. Day one. I said, as I was watching all the matches, keeping up with the scores last night here in North America, I was noticing that there's not a lot of updates in round one. Most of the seeds, like the vast majority of the seeds, made it through. There's a couple upsets, but they weren't, very big at all. So no big upsets in day one. But the big news is that Nick Kyrgios has withdrawn from the Australian Open. There will be no Nick Kyrgios at his home tournament, his home major, after a great 2022 year, obviously. So the Netflix documentary just came out. He was the big star in episode 1. And then he had an amazing Wimbledon, obviously, making the final. And then it was super competitive at the US Open, was, gunning for the title, he said. And, with Djokovic not there and Nadal losing, he had a great chance, didn't capitalize. So coming to the Australian Open, there was a ton of hype around Nick to do well, follow up for Netflix. And, he was going to be super dangerous, especially being in, for Novak in Djokovic's quarter. But he has to withdraw as he has a small meniscus tear, Dr. Steven putting on the doctor hat, small meniscal tear, which apparently created a cyst, which is what his trainer said in their little press conference. And there was too much pain. He showed like this gross picture of like this blob of ketchup looking stuff, which was apparently drained from his knee earlier the week, like a week ago. So yeah, his knee was just not in the state to compete and he had to withdraw. So that sucks. That sucks for me. I was, you want to see all the best players competing. We're already missing some stars. So that is a blow to the tournament with Nick Kyrgios withdrawing. It helps a couple of players though. It helps Holger Rune, who is in his 8th. They would have played in the 3rd round. So Holger Rune is going to like his chances moving forward. He'll play today. He'll like his chances moving forward to potentially play Djokovic in the 4th round with Nick being out. So yeah, that's the big news from day one. Nick Kyrgios withdrawn. Lame, I think. He was not in my top 5. I made a video yesterday. Check out my video of top 5 contenders. Nick was not in my top 5. He was a pretender, mainly because of his draw. But, maybe I saw the future. Saw that he was going to pull it anyway. So I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one. Nadal survives. Rafa Nadal comes through Jack Draper in a bit of a weird match. I do not think Nadal was at his best, but we kind of knew that coming in because he hasn't won a match yet in 2023. So he said he was not worried. He said he played good matches and he just lost them. So he didn't think he said coming in, Nadal wasn't too worried about his level. But yeah, I was not sure. So that's why I didn't have him even in my top 5 contenders in the video yesterday. And trigger warning, Nadal fans, I'm not a hater. I'm just saying what I see. And to be honest, yesterday it was a tight first set, very even. And Jack Draper, just a much more inexperienced player, got a little tight at the end. And that Rafa was able to pinch it off like we've seen so many times before. And then Draper just straight up blew Rafa out of the water in the 2nd set. Much better player in that set. And then they're on serve in the 3rd set, and Jack Draper starts to get cramps. And that cramps on set and kind of really drop his level, give Nadal confidence and energy to play throughout the match, and ends up winding it out. Or taking it out and winning the match. Very similar scoreline and actually kind of storyline of the match for when younger Holger Rune played Djokovic at 2021 US Open, if you remember that. I think it was 2021. Wait, so crazy. So Djokovic was allowed to play 2021 US Open, but not 2020. Okay, got it. Anyway, 2022. Anyways, got it. So if in that match you remember, it was, I think Djokovic won first set very quickly, and then Holger Rune won the second set, and then Holger Rune started to cramp, and he could barely play. I don't think Draper's cramps were as bad. He was able to still play, but by the end, I didn't actually watch the fourth set. I kind of knew where it was going. So yeah, so Nadal, the reason I say Nadal survives is he didn't play Jack Draper at his best, and it still wasn't a super straightforward victory for him. Jack Draper wasn't even playing out of his mind in the first two sets. He was just playing like his normal level, and Nadal was getting pushed around by the power a little bit. So we will see how. I think actually Nadal's draw is not as hard as I originally thought. He'll play Mackenzie McDonald next, which he should be fine with. Mackenzie McDonald's an aggressive player, but he just seems too small to me to really cause issues for Nadal. So, then he could win that. And then I think he's got a little bit of a clearer route. Then he could play, who would he play next? Then he would play Nishioka or Michael Emer or Wame Munar. Not super tough. And then he's got Tiafoe or Hachinov in the fourth round, or the third round. But sorry, in the fourth round. But that is normal. I think, that's like a normal tough fourth round. So anyways, I think Nadal's got more chance with the draw than I gave him at the beginning, but he survives Draper, not playing his best, but gets through round one. And that is what matters, isn't it? So let's take a look at some scores from yesterday. So here's the results from day one. Like I said, all the big players made it through. All the top seeds did not lose. Coco Gauff handles business 6-1, 6-4 over Siniakova. Zachary beats Juan 6-1, 6-4. Also, both on Rod Laver Arena. Wow, there was a lot of 6-1 and 6-4 sets on Rod Laver Arena yesterday. Nadal beats Draper, as we just said. Swiatek, tougher match, tougher opponent. Niemeyer 6-4, 7-5. Not super straightforward for her in round one. And then Medvedev beat Giron, very straightforward, as you would assume. Medvedev looking great. The balls being apparently flatter and helping the flat hitters. It's going to help Medvedev because he hits it about as flat as anyone. So I would say that boosts his chances a little bit, don't you? And then Margaret Coe Arena, Jess Pegula comes through 6-0, 6-1, dominant. Hubie Hurkacz in 3. Victoria Azarenka, Battle of the Past Champions, beats Kenin. Stefanos Tsitsipas comes through in a tougher match. Quentin Halys of France was playing very well when he played Djokovic a week or so ago. And Tsitsipas had to come down from a break in the third set. And I think a 0-4 start in the third set tiebreaker to win. So Tsitsipas was pumped up. You could see how much it meant to him. And I think you could see Tsitsipas having some nerves there and really wanting to, have a good run at this tournament, obviously. But he seemed very relieved to get through round one in the way that he did it. He was pumped up. So he's ready to battle. You can tell. Madison Keys beats Blankova in 3 sets. Sinner beats Edmund easily. Kvitova, another seed through. Kubler beats Baez. Baez continuing his horrible form. Canadian Felix Auger-Aliassime comes back after a rocky start to beat countryman, fellow Canadian Vasek Pospisil in a tight match, actually, almost 4 hours. That's not really what Felix wanted in round one, but he's happy to get through. He can recover. Danielle Collins, TFO through. TFO should have wrapped this up in 3. Played a little bit loose and then ended up making it through at the end of the third set. Played a little loose, let Altmaier back in it. Great high-level match, though. Cam Norrie comes through pretty easily. Raducanu comes through. Shapovalov beats Lajovic. Krejcikova. A lot of winners. A lot of the seeds winning. One of the only upsets, and it's not even that big of an upset, Bianca Andreescu beating Marie Buskova. Watch that match. Bianca played great. Friend of the show, obviously. She played great. She came forward a ton, was super good with her volleys. Just played a great match from start to finish and was a better player for sure. Ostapenko wins. So those are all the names of note, I would say. A couple of the minor upsets happened on the outer courts, like Kostyuk beating Anisimova, 28th seed, out. Koric out first round to Lehechka, 6-3, 6-3, 6-3. Not a huge upset in my opinion. And then maybe the biggest upset of the day, Lorenzo Musetti, 17th seed, losing to Lloyd Harris, who's come back on tour after some injury woes, big time injury woes. So that's an upset. But Lloyd Harris, he probably would have been seeded if he had never been injured. So again, not a huge upsets, no huge upsets there, which is, I think, good for the tournament going on. We want to see, personally, I want to see seeds playing other seeds. That's always a good time in my book. Canadians, let's take a quick look. Chapo wins, Felix wins, Bianca wins. 3 of the core 4 win. Pospisil obviously lost to Felix, and Rebecca Marina lost to Zhu of China. So the Canadians, I would say that's a good opening Canadian day for the Canadians. And today we got Catherine Sebov playing and Leylah Fernandez. So that will be good. On that note, let's take a quick look here at day 2, the schedule, and see who will be playing first up on Rod Laver Arena. We got Sabalenka. We got Catherine Sebov, Canadian, versus Caroline Garcia. I think Sabalenka and Garcia are 2 picks in the women's side who I think are going to go very deep. Then we got a great match, Berrettini versus Murray. And then we got Djokovic and Jabeur closing out the night session. Djokovic playing Carballes Baena should not be an issue, but we'll see how Djokovic's hamstring holds up. That could be tricky for him, so we will see. Then we got Marutha Mertens on Margaret Court, and then a really good match to start off the day on John Cain, Andre Rublev versus Dominic Thiem. Hate to see that first rounder for Dominic Thiem there. That's pretty brutal. Casper Ruud in action, Holger Rune in action, Thanasi Kokkinakis in action, Leylah Fernandez. So yeah, a lot of good matches. I think day 1 was pretty star-studded because most of the big contenders on the men's side at least are in the top half. So yeah, that's a day 1 roundup here on The Slice. What'd you think of the news? What'd you think of Nick Kyrgios pulling out? I mean, it's kind of just sad for everyone. I can't see anyone being stoked unless you're a massive Kyrgios hater, which you shouldn't be, really. You shouldn't hate anyone. So anyways, there's a day 1 roundup from The Slice. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for subscribing. Follow me on Twitter at The Slice Steven for live tweeting during matches and stuff like that. That's where I'm getting down with it with a lot of our fans. So yeah, day 1 in the books. Looking forward to day 2. Thanks for being here. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time here on the show.